Hello, hello, hello. Test, test, test. Hello, hello, hello. Test, test, test. Okay, let's go. So we are live in the UK. It's another clear night. And tonight we are imaging M81 and M82 before the moon comes up. So it's on its way up. I reckon I can get another hour in before it starts to really wash it out. But I can see the sky's getting brighter literally by the minute. But I'm okay with the subs so far. Get these stars off. These are just 2-minute subs. And I'm going to flick over and get some HA on the Cigar Galaxy because there is some nice wispy bits in the middle here that are HA only. Hopefully the moon won't affect that too much. Guiding's looking good. So hopefully you can all hear me. I've had issues with my audio recently. I've had a few people say I sound too quiet, so I've upped the mic volume. I'm just playing it back on mine. So we're in a sequence. I'm doing an hour of luminance and I'm going to flick onto HA. Hopefully things will go to plan. Hey Corinne Lewis, hello. I think your name I've just seen in the UK Magnets, Cloud Magnets Facebook group. So yeah, I got back from PASS, probably about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So yeah, had a good day. Met a load of people I've never met before. So it was yeah, it was good. Ended up buying a few things as well, just a couple. So we got an hour and 41 to the meridian flip, which will be well past. In fact, I'll probably be still imaging HA at that point. That's plain odd. Yeah, not taking the HFR. I like to see the HFR values, so I have that turned on by default in Nina. A lot of people say, "What's all the yellow circles on my images?" It is just the HFR that it rereads after each image I've captured. So I actually started imaging about 8 o'clock, but I'm not going live till past. So I've got 9. These are only 2-minute subs in luminance, so you can see. Aycliffe S from South Wiltshire, a nice area of the country. I think I've been there once or twice, a long time ago though. You were there yourself and had a great time. Yeah, it was good. You've just got back into London. Yeah, it was a long day. I drove down last night and stayed at the Premier Inn with Mick and the crew. I didn't go clubbing like they did last night though, but yeah, it was good. So everything's looking okay at the moment. This is my second time out with my off-axis guider, and I'm really happy with the. I'm not chasing the numbers. I'm not a fan of chasing numbers, but I'm way below my pixel scale ratio that I would start having issues. You can sort of start to see that this is getting brighter here now. So the moon, even though it's still quite low, just check where it is. I'm pretty sure it's not that high at the moment, but it's very bright. Let's have a quick look. Where are you, Mr. Moon? Yes, there you are. Yeah, it's gonna. We should start seeing. You can see the mean value here on each sub. Hopefully, YouTube hasn't wrecked it, but every image that mean value is getting higher, which means this background is getting lighter, which is the effect of the moon. Oh, you brought some kit yourself. Have you put it in the Facebook group? Or tell us all what you've bought. It's spoon free as well. No one will understand that. Who else is in the chat? But let's have a see if you put in the group what you bought. No, I can't see anything. Tell us what you bought, Corinne. I tried to buy a telescope, but they wouldn't let me have it. Take it away. So I said I'd have to order it next week. I wonder if I'll get an hour in at this rate because it is getting brighter. But the data's still here. I'm okay at the moment. Let's have a quick look in Stellarium. Yeah, so the moon is literally what? It's not that high off the horizon at the moment, and I'm imaging somewhere. Bode's is where? It's up here somewhere. So yeah, we'll be okay, I think. Hopefully, I've never imaged this in HA before either. So when I flick over to HA to get some of the stuff that comes out the side of the cigar, and we should see some of the nebulas just as red dots really in this galaxy as well. So I'm going to effectively create a LRGBHA image at the end of it. I think I've got only about 4 hours so far, so I'm not going to go mental on it. I think it's going to be clear again tomorrow night as well, so I think the moon rises later tomorrow. Let's have a quick check. So tonight it rised at 19:55. Tomorrow it rises at 21:20. Yeah, so be able to get a good 3 hours before it starts to impact me again tomorrow, hopefully, if it stays clear. Cliff S, you took some M51 subs on Thursday, but they were pretty washed out. Yeah, I think Thursday the moon was probably rising quite early in the evening from memory. So just calibrated my new mount. Oh, new mount. I'm interested. What's the new mount? Tell all. I'm not live stacking this either tonight. I normally try and do a bit of live stacking whilst I'm doing it, but I've not set it up. You bought a dummy battery to fit your Pegasus Powerbox for a 600D. Okay, yeah. And a bar extension for your Ioptron SEM 26. How are you finding the Ioptron mounts? I think it was Luke Argent said he's got a problem with his SEM 25. I think it is. I was chatting to him today about it. He was going to have a go at the Ioptron guys at the show, but I don't recall seeing them actually. They were meant to be there, but I didn't see the Ioptron stall. Oh wow! You got a SEM 120. That is a huge mount. Looks very nice as well. That dovetail plate at the top is, yeah, it's that is a monster mount. I think Joe's Astrophotography over in Canada. He's had one. He had a bit of a problem with it, but he got it sorted. But yeah, it does look incredibly fine mount. What sort of load are you going to be sticking on there? Something heavy, I hope. I have looked at the Optron stuff myself. I currently have two mounts. I've got a Celestron CGX. Don't hate on me, but I literally have had no issues with my CGX, and I've had it 2 years. I think it's one of those potluck things. I know I've seen a load of people on Cloudy Nights moaning about various CGX issues. Dylan O'Dolan had one for a couple of years, and he was fine with it. In fact, I think he's just gone back to it. And then I've got a Skywatcher AZEQ6, which doesn't get a lot of use because I'm trying to build a second rig at the moment. You've had your SEM 26 for about a year and works great. Yeah. What sort of rig do you put on top of that, Corin? What have you got? I do like the iOptron stuff that has the cable management through the mount because I'm quite a big cable management freak. I used to just have wires hanging all over a few years ago, but I've stopped doing that and spent a lot of time cable managing. But my mounts don't have through mount cabling, so I just have to do what I can. So I've only actually got two cables leaving the mount. One is for the power, and one is to the actual mount itself, USB connection. Everything else is self-contained on the top. So I literally have to plug in two things when I take it outside because I'm not permanent either. I have to set up and tear down every night. But you get used to it. So since we started, that sky has gone from 1392 mean to 1702. You can see it's literally getting about 200-300 brighter each image. 25 kilograms to start with. Okay, you had an EQ8 but had to return it, so I went for the SEM 120. Interesting. Be interesting to know why if it's not too long a story, why you had to return the EQ8. Presumably this was a brand new EQ8R. Okay, let's do a quick check. Temps, good. Cooler power, good. Dew heaters are starting to go up. Meridian flip not till an hour and a half. Dew point a few degrees away. Don't like that. I'll take what I can. It's a moon night. If I'm imaging, I'm happy. Yeah, definitely. You can see in PhD 2 this is getting very bright. But until it starts deteriorating this data, if I have to throw away a handful of subs, I'll be okay. I'll be adding some data onto what I've got. RA binding and horrible deck backlash. Wow, okay. I know Celestron and Skywatcher, they're part of the Sinter group. They're not renowned for their quality control. I happen to have a Celestron and a Skywatcher mount. Both work fine, and I think it's one of those things. I think everything I've seen from the SEM 120, it should be incredibly pleased with its performance, I think. And I've seen how silky smooth the RA and the deck axis are. Literally unlock the clutch. It's literally, yeah. There's no stiction at all in them. But I presume you've seen the thing in the manual about you can damage the mount if you start tracking with the. You can literally, like traditional mount, you can unlock the clutches, but you wouldn't really set it going because everything will just fall either to the side. But I think on the iOption SEM series, you probably know more than I do, but if you lock the clutches in, you can basically do some damage if you leave them in a certain position. I just remember quite a few videos, people setting them up saying you must remember to do something. I'm waffling now. See, guiding good. I hope these stars don't disappear. They should be okay. What? I'm only doing 1 second things, which I know a lot of people are going, oh, you only got guiding at 1 second. It's like my CGX likes 1 second exposures. If I start doing 3 second exposures or 2 second exposures, my guiding will get worse. A Starwave triplet 80mm and a 600D. Skygill scope and a Pecos power now. Nice. My EQ6 is great. Was getting guiding on SEM. Oh, right, less than 0.4. Nice. So we are on exposure number 30. No, 15. How bright is that sky getting? Oh, it's calmed down a little bit. So after this, it's going to drop onto the HA filter. As I said earlier, I've never imaged. I've only imaged M81 and M82 once before. That was with a Sigma 150-600 lens a long time ago. So I've definitely never imaged it with some HA data. So I've been looking forward to seeing what it comes out like. Don't know how many subs I'm going to need to start pulling out that faint detail. We'll find out soon. Might have to. In fact, I've only gone for 120 seconds. I'll see what that does, and then I might adjust that accordingly. Hello to anybody who's just joined. All 6 of you deciding to watch a Yorkshireman take images of the night sky. Thank you for joining. So today at Paz, I bought the, even though I'm imaging in mono at the moment, I have a 2600 ZWO one-shot color camera. So I've been using an Optolong L Extreme on that, but I'm getting really bad halos on it. So today I bought the new Antlia Gold 5nm dual narrowband one that came out just before Christmas. So I'm going to use that to replace my L Extreme. And the reason I went with the Antlia one is the images that I'm shooting tonight are with the Antlia 3nm HA, sulfur and oxygen, and then I've got the LRGB. I've been really impressed with them. They're a little bit expensive, but they're not as expensive as Chroma or Astrodome, but yeah, everything I've imaged so far, I've been incredibly impressed. So I'm going to hopefully, I might try the one-shot colour before I get the second rig set up. I'll see. Is that guiding? Oh, we've crept up to 0.70, but we're well below. So apparently, Cliff S, the halos are pretty much non-existent. However, I was having a chat with some of the guys at PASS today, and they were saying that apparently Optolong said there was a production batch, quite a large, of L Extremes where the halos were Certainly over a threshold that was acceptable. And I was having a chat with a guy, and he said he basically got his swapped, did the same type of imaging in terms of exposure, target, and the halos were significantly reduced. And he just approached Optolong and said, "Oi, is this right?" And they went, "No, we'll send you a new one." But it was a good excuse to buy some new stuff. Hey, Alex Douglas. Hello. Thanks for joining. How are you doing today? I'm tired. I was up at 6 o'clock this morning. I had breakfast at 7 down in Kettering, and then I was literally first in the queue at Paz because I got there at 5 to 8. I was expecting a massive queue, but then by 8:30 they were queuing out the door. So yeah, I didn't need to get there that early, but I had nothing else to do. So we are on image number 17 out of 30 of the luminance channel. Until this sky gets washed out, I think I'm okay at the moment. You think you got one as well? Did the jellyfish last night and bad halos on extreme? Yeah. It's pretty much evident straight away if you're going to suffer from them. So what I didn't know is that until I got told today that there was people saying that they've got LX streams with far less halos, same type of scopes, same f ratio in terms of speed. Because someone said it'll be the quicker the scope, the more halos, more prominent the halos. But found some people with exactly the same scope and camera as me saying they've got no halos or very little haloing going on. So I might try and get it replaced. But I'll also try the Antlia as well. So it's also 5nm, whereas the LX Stream's 7nm. And I know Optolong are about to bring out the what's it called, the L Ultimate, which I think is their 3nm dual narrowband. I think it is. Can't type. Yeah, 3nm. Sean got a test sample, I think, a few months ago. Yeah, it's M81 and M82, Bode and Cigar Galaxy. That's correct. So this is actually my third night imaging this, so I managed to get some data early in the month. And whilst it's full moon night, it's rising right now, but it's far enough away for it to only lighten the background at the moment. So I don't think I'm losing much detail in here. Let's turn those. And then I'm hoping to switch over to get some HA out of this, and there should be some HA in this as well. Some like red dots, which are be the galaxies in there. I always like to do the nebula in there. I always like to do a bit of HA on galaxies. Yeah, the Antlia was well, the LRGB and the SHO set. Yeah, the SHO set were like 450 to 480 each, and then the Antlia dual narrowband one I got today was 393, but I got 10% off at the show, so that brought it down whatever 10% is, so 39 quid. Basically got 40 quid off it today. So yeah, it's an expensive filter, but as I say, I've been really impressed with the Antlia quality and the performance of what I've managed so far. I'll show you quickly. This was my very first image with the Antlias. It was my very first mono image as well. So I shot one shot color for 2 years. So yeah, I was. When that first mono narrowband image came in of HA, I nearly dropped off the floor. The amount of data that was in like a 10-minute sub, which is what my usual go-to value for bright nebulas. Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'm hoping to do a review of it. It's just a case of getting time, but maybe in the next few weeks, I'll certainly try and do a review and point it at some bright stuff, some halo givers. There's plenty around in the night sky at the moment. Hey, thanks, Cliff. Yeah, it was. It's probably one of my better pictures. Is that a dust melt I could see there? Might need to retake some flat. Yeah. Yeah, I was really pleased with how it came out. Um, I'll say it was my first mono image as well. So yeah, the thing is, my 2600 MC color camera hasn't had a looking since November. So I only got the mono camera last year, late last year, and got the mono filter straight away, the narrowband ones, and then the broadband ones I only managed to get in February. Windy as well. Okay, it's quite clear. I'm gonna have a quick look at the UK cloud map right now, the live one. Well, I'm not sure where you are. Some patchy areas scattered around, but the most of the UK looks quite clear. I think wind. What's it? Mine's showing 9 miles per hour right now. My garden's quite sheltered. I mean, it doesn't stop it from getting windy, but it is quite enclosed. So we have 20 exposures. Chip temp's good. Meridian flip in 1 hour 20. We're good. Anybody who's not been on my live streams, I basically about every 20, 30 minutes, I do what I call my system check. I just check things. I can never ever go to sleep and leave this running. I haven't got the confidence to. I should be out. Well, tonight there's absolutely zero chance of rain. My biggest fear is rain. Since using Nina, every single Meridian flip, touch wood, has worked fine. SGP, I once had an issue where it started hitting the legs, and luckily it only did it for about 2 minutes before I'd realised there was something wrong. But yeah, maybe one day I'll get to the point where I can just leave things and go to sleep and wake up. And as we get into those summer months when, well, with a bit less time, but certainly less time to image, but more time to sleep. Oh, you're up in Aberdeen, so yeah, I did see some clouds up in. I was like, yeah, okay, north of Scotland, up that area. Yeah, there is some clouds up there. A bit over Carlisle at the moment, and then the rest of the UK, apart from down in Cornwall near Plymouth, looks clear. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did, Cliff. I shot one shot colour for 2 years. I had a 071 ZWO 071 MC first, and then I moved to the 2600. No oil leak yet, fingers crossed. Colour, and I don't intend selling it. I will keep it as a one shot colour camera. And then this is a QHY-268M. I decided to go to the dark side and go for QHY. So completely different fittings, but And I know a lot of people said the drivers were awful to install, lots of weird issues, but that didn't worry me because I sort of work in IT, so I thought if I've got driver issues, I'll be able to sort those. Whereas ZWO, their drivers are absolutely spot on, zero issues with them. But QHY, I know quite a few people. I didn't actually have any of the issues people said they were getting. Oh, shut up, Siri. My watch is talking to me. You have to set up on the front drive, so like, don't like leaving in my kit. Though crime is minimal, yeah. So luckily, I live in a very small village just on North Yorkshire. So again, we've got very little crime, and someone would have to have come to the end of our close, gone into our back garden to see my equipment. So, Alex Douglas, your ESPRIT 100. That's exactly what I'm shooting with tonight. So I don't know if you can see on the outdoor camera. That's my lovely ESPRIT 100 that I've had for 2 years now. Absolutely love it. Not had a single issue with it. I mean, it's not perfect. There are certain things I'd go, if I could change that I would, but absolutely love it. I've been trying to buy an ESPRIT 120, but I might have changed my mind today based on something that I saw. But Flow were meant to be getting in a batch of 120s at the end of this month. They said one's already sold and the others will be put up for sale, but I've not seen them materialise yet. Yeah, it is quite a big... It's a heavy old thing as well. So God knows how big this 120 is going to feel when I sort that out. Or do I go from the other thing that I saw today? So the other thing I saw today was Altair Astro's ED130 triplet, which is 905mm. It looks an absolute beast. Strel rating of 95 as minimum with the report that they put in with it. And it's the same price as the ESPRIT. So I'm tempted to go for that. Hey Ghost 70, you went to test your Stellar View 130 triplet now. I have a garden and it's dark. Go for it. Why aren't you imaging tonight? Are you still waiting for bits, I'm presuming? Or is it too cloudy? Or is it not dark yet? No, you said it's dark. Ignore that. Bit of faff getting it on the mount. I'd show you. So hang on a sec. I can't. If you look back, Alex, there's a video on my YouTube channel where I go through my kit. There's a bit to do with the ESPRIT, and basically what I've done is I've put a dovetail, Losmandy dovetail plate on the top. And what I use that for is I put my nook on there, but I've also made a handle just out of some ADM bits, and I use that, and it really does help because you can basically pick it up from the bottom and hold the handle at the top, and you take most of the weight at the bottom, so the handle isn't. I would never ever just carry it with just the handle because it would probably bend. But it just helps you supporting it, and it does help me get it onto the mount really easily. I can't remember which video it is, but it's one where I start going through. It's not too far back in my history of videos, maybe 3 or 4 back. You're still waiting for the William Optics FLT 132. Yeah, that's a beast of a scope as well. Quite expensive as well, if I remember. Is it like close to £4,000? But yeah, it does look a nice scope, the FLT 132. Just moved into a house and the garden is a bit wet in Northumberland. Oh, you're in Northumberland, okay. Instant dark skies, I would imagine, unless you're in one of the cities. So I'm just north of York. I'm not a million miles away from you, probably a couple of hours. Need to put some concrete blocks, a CGX, and the 130 waste lot. Yeah, I imagine it is. So you'll notice as well, I'm running a CGX as well. Love them or hate them, I love mine. It's not had a single issue since the day I bought it. Okay, you've seen the video, Alex. Yeah. I would strongly recommend making that handle. It does make things easier, and if you put that Losmandy plate on the top, it I use it for, well, before I was off-axis guiding, that's where I used to put my guide scope as well. Yeah, it's like people do things in different ways. The other thing that I bought today, this is my stuff that I got today. That's the Antlia filter. And then I bought these green risers. So I'm going to do something where I mount my Nook and my Pegasus power box. They're not in the best position, but I've cable managed around it. But what I'm going to do is actually put this in between the bottom Losmandy plate and the top one, and put the Nook and the power box in the middle, and then I can have the cables coming out the centre of the mount rather than sort of towards the back of the mount as they are now. See how it goes. If it works, I'll do it on both scopes. You've got some really hefty handles from Rother Valley Optics. Yeah, I think I've seen those ones. They're the actual shaft of the handle's metal, I think, if it's the one I'm thinking of. In Widdington, so about bottle 3 to 4, but 30 mins is a bottle 2. Oh, right, okay, about 1.5 hours from Kilda. Yeah. Very nice. I've still got a voucher to go to the observatory there that my next door neighbour bought me. I'm sure it'll still be valid, but it was pre-COVID. To the Kilda Observatory. I'll have to dig it out and phone them up, see if it's still in date. And if they say no, it's not, I'll claim, well, COVID started, so I couldn't really come, could I? But yeah, you've got some nice dark skies. I mean, I'm quite lucky. I've got a bottle 4 in my back garden. I'm far enough away from York for it not to affect me, and I'm just on the edge of the North Yorkshire Moors. Not far away. I don't live in the North Yorkshire Moors, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would give their left arm to live where we live. So where are we? We're nearly finished our luminance, and this sky is getting brighter. But we've still got some data coming in. It's not getting washed out. The background's definitely getting lighter. I can handle that in post-processing, but I don't know why you're not doing that, Nina, but the data in the subs is not getting washed out. So I'm okay with that at the moment. Okay, you used to be a volunteer there. Okay. Very good. Bottle 4 as well, Cliff. Nice. Yeah, I'm not sure if I lived in a city like, well, the closest biggest city to me is Leeds, I would say, or a metropolitan type city. If I lived anywhere near, I just don't know how people don't get so frustrated imaging. There's a guy who's been sending me some of his data saying, is this what you'd expect from London? And when I've looked at it, it's not bad, but he's taking 5-minute subs, narrowband, and there's not a lot of data there on a moonless night. But that's unfortunately what light pollution is in this country. Doesn't mean you can't image, it's just more challenging, isn't it? My threshold for frustration might be too low. I've not seen this dither for a few frames. Ooh, it should be dithering. Guiding settle back down. Not a lot to do, is there? You can. Another galaxy in the frame of view. I don't know. What, 4 north and 5 south? Yeah, astrophotography from London, definitely a challenge. I'm pretty sure that's where Astro Biscuit lives, and he has a fantastic YouTube channel. I've seen some of his stuff from his rooftop. So yeah, it can be done. It's just different levels of patience required, I think, and perseverance. So 3 more subs, and I will have another hour of luminance. And I think I'm going to see what I hate. What it's going to flick over to HA. Intrigued to see what it comes out with. What I'm hoping to see. What I am hoping to see is not a load of guns. is this obviously not a Hubble, but yeah, all this stuff. This is all HA, so I understand. So hopefully, you don't want to see that. Hopefully, we should see. I don't know if 120 seconds is going to be enough though, but we should see some nebulosity appearing here, some dust clouds. You should come to Astro Camp and kill it. I'll certainly have a look. Ghost, yeah. I'm not a very good camper if it means having a tent. Cause one, I think the tent I've got, if it is a tent thing, the tent I've got in the shed is probably perished and got holes in it. I don't think I've ever set it up myself. I've never really been camping in the true definition of the word camping. I'll probably be a terrible camper. Next week, can't decide between M51 and Leo triplet. Yeah, Galaxy season is definitely starting. It's so many choices. I'm going to try and image some. Well, if I can get this 900mm refractor that I'm hoping to get, it'll certainly give me a few more choices of outside of the ones that I've imaged before. But we'll see. Oh, right, so we haven't got to 2000, but when we started, we were on what? The mean was 1392, and it's now just shy of 2000. Let's have a look where this moon is right now. 2112. Yeah. Where's M81 in relation? Yeah. Moon there, target there. There's enough angular distance for me to carry on. I'm going to try and sleep in the higher van and take a tent just in case. Just need several toilet tents to protect the scope, yeah. Sleeping in the higher van. I hope. When you say higher van, do you mean like a what the company's called? I'm presuming. Are you talking just putting the seats down, or has it got some kind of bedding in the back? That doesn't sound like a comfy night to me. I don't know how long. I mean, it's clear all night, but with the moon out, I'm not sure what I'm going to switch to after this. Also, I've been driving for 3 hours today. Drove back from Paz, practical astronomy show, just after lunch. So I'm going to be flagging later. Oh, the ISS is about to rise. I literally did see it go past on my outdoor cam when it made the pass earlier. It was quite entertaining. Although this pass I think is quite low. Yeah, it's only 10 degrees this pass that it's doing. You might see it. No, actually, will you? 2121. We'll keep an eye out for it. So, 2 more subs, and we're halfway through the penultimate one. And then it's going to move to HA. I don't use filter offsets because you'll notice I'm using not the beta version of Nina. I'll only go to version 2 on this when it's released. So I've got no filter offsets set. It'll refocus. You're getting a transit size van and a catfish bed to sleep on, run the power and the eating, the cooking. Did you see the cloud magnet? Yes, I did see the Magneteers. So I met up with them last night. So I got down to Kettering at around 3 o'clock, 3:30. So I checked in, bumped into Glenn, Astro Bloke first. So we were just us two having a chat outside the pub, and then several others turned up. Luke, good friend of mine, Luca Matico, he joined us with Cosmos Astro. Then saw Mick turned up, and then we all went inside and had something to eat. And I think the funny thing is, the lady at the restaurant got really annoyed because I think he'd booked a table for something like 7, based on people saying there were 7 people eating. And by the time we all went in, we needed a table for like 20. So they just found us a place in the restaurant and said, "Just sit there, get out of our way." So yeah, it was good. Yeah, I've got 2 Nooks. I run the beta version of version 2 on my second rig. So I've been playing about with the features. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in some of the new stuff that's coming in there. Some of the plugins looking really good. What's really spooky as well is I was sat when we were eating. I was sat across a guy called Jim, and he said he followed me on YouTube. So I was like fairly grateful and happy that I sat with someone who recognised me. And then he said, out of the blue, he said, "I think you sold me a Skywatcher dongle on Facebook about 2 years ago." I was like, "Really?" And I checked through my Facebook history, and sure enough, well before joining UK Cloud Magnets, I'd sold this guy who was sat opposite a Skywatcher Wi-Fi dongle, which he still uses, he said. So it's a small astro world in the UK. Right, this is on the last exposure. Of luminance. Dithering. That's a long dither. Oh god, it is a long dither. Come on, that must be dithering ending. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to pay attention to this because I use a Sesta Senso 2 focuser. And my last 2 nights out, I've had an issue with it. So what happens is moving goes to true, but it never moves. So I can tell it's working this time because it's saying is moving true, and it is moving. Then it sets it to false. Well, it takes an image, and then it'll say moving as it repositions it. So I'm okay with this one. So when it goes mental, I have to go out and basically power it off and power it back on. So this is HA, so it's going out of focus, which is correct. Can I ask how you sync your files from your Nuke to your NAS? Free file sync? No, what I use is this. So I use a Synology NAS, and if I probably just minimize all of Nina, where's the tool? I use this Synology Drive client, and what you do is you set up a backup task. And what the backup task is basically set to is this is the NUC, this drive on the NUC. So I say sync anything that appears in this folder called Nina Images, which is where all my files go. And then the backup destination is just a path on the NUC, and that's literally the name of my NUC. So I basically put everything into a folder called Astro NUC 2 on the NAS, and that's it. And literally when a file drops in there, this thing will just go, oh, file, I'll copy it to your NAS straight away, and that's it. And this is Synology free software, so it just works good. If you look in the logs, you'll see that that's basically what it's just been doing. So I don't need to do anything, just sits there monitoring that folder and any subfolders and just recreates them. So then if I just look on my this PC, I have a drive U mapped, which is to my NAS, and these are tonight's files that have basically appeared on there. Hopefully I've explained that fairly well. Ooh, that didn't go too well, did it? Let's see what happens. No worries. Ah, look. So this is just a 15-second exposure in HA. You can already see that obviously these are the 2 galaxies. So let's see what when this is finished focusing. That isn't backlash, by the way. That's, I think that's Nina getting confused with what are stars and what are not stars. So hello to anybody who's just joined. I am imaging M821 and M882 on a full moon night. No, I'm not crazy. I'm just about to start imaging HA. So I'm hoping to start to see some data coming out of the side of the Cigar Galaxy. We'll see. Never imaged it in HA before. So got about 5 hours now, I think, of LRGB. The moon's starting to affect the image. The sky is getting quite bright, so I think I'm done with broadband now. We'll see what we get out of this. Yeah, HFR 2.47, that's fine. Come on. Right, it's finished focusing. Oh, I thought it hadn't resumed guiding there for a second. Let's see what So ignore this. This is just a 15-second exposure from the focus routine. So let's see what this first HA sub comes in like. I might open it in PixInsight as well. This was that data that I was talking about earlier that a guy from London sent me. Looking at it for him. But we'll have a look at this data when it comes in PixInsight. Hey, AstroPix UK, hello. Thanks for stopping by on a clear, moon-filled Saturday night. Come on, I'm excited to see this. A minute. If this is too well, we'll see. If there's not enough data there, I'll stop. I'll pause the sequence and adjust the times, or stop the sequence and adjust the times. Let's have a quick look at one of those exposures that I've just taken. So, what date today? What's the date? 19th. Of course, it's 19th. So that's what we took earlier in LRGB. Let's move those out of the way. Got my new scope find up and running. Come on then, which one? It's a beast. Okay. You can see that's not bad for HA. That's more than what I was expecting, to be honest. Oops, don't want to open a copy. Let's have a look at this HA. Yeah, there's definitely, obviously, you can see, well, unless YouTube's crushing it with my rubbish upload, there's some data here. You can see these little dots here will be nebulas that will come out as red. But yeah, the cigar's definitely got more data over here. So that is just one image. Look how much darker the sky is. What's the mean on that? 417, moon, go away, you're not coming in. Come on, AstroPix UK, what is it? I'm not sure if I know you as who I think you might be. Ah, I thought it was you, Jim. Yes, hello. You got that thing set up really quickly. That's right. Is that why you left early? Excellent. So for everybody in the chat, in the all 8 of you, AstroPix UK is Jim, who I had the pleasure of sitting opposite last night and having dinner with him and his missus, and we chatted all things Astro as part of the UK Cloud Magnets get together at the Premier Inn. And then literally, I think it was about lunchtime, bumped into him walking out of the show with this 800mm f4 Altier reflector, Newtonian reflector, with a really big smile on his face. Okay, I'm thinking this HA data is going to be okay. Look how bright the sky's getting now. This is my off-axis guider, which is obviously sat in front of the filters. We'll be okay. Still guiding 0.51. I'll take that. I'm just going to make sure I set my dithering on this one. Yeah, I did, every 3 frames. Okay, we're all good. No need to panic. So anybody's joined, this is Bode and Cigar, but in HA. So I'm trying to add some HA data to my LRGB set. So if you're wondering why the galaxies look like this, it's not because I've got a rubbish scope or camera. It's because this is literally just the hydrogen alpha data. I should start stacking this actually. fact, let's set a live stack up for the HA. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, the bloody thing's gone, hasn't it? Right, okay. I know why. I updated PixInsight and it hasn't put the easy processing suite back on. So whilst that's doing that, I'll go back to the imaging and then we'll do a live stack of this. Yes, I'm quite looking forward to combining this with the LRGB, but I'm not sure. Well, next week I'm back at work, and then the week after, which we're in new moon territory, I purposely pick my holidays when I'm just doing nothing, not going away, for moonless nights, on the off chance that there might be some clear nights. So next week I'm back at work, and then the week after I've got the week off. So fingers crossed if I can get a few nights in there. Just one or two where I'll just do an all-nighter and don't have to go to work the next day. That'll be ideal. Let's see if PixInsight is updated. No, still downloading stuff. What are you imaging tonight, Jim? Are we just plain setup and testing, and or have you actually set it off doing something? I was trying to process Bodes in PixInsight yesterday and found it really tough. Probably need more data as well. I've got a processed version with the data I captured earlier this month. Once PixInsight's finished doing what it needs to do with the repositories, I'll show you where I got to. But I knew I was going to be adding more data to it, but I have a habit of processing what I've got so far just to see what we're looking like. It almost helps me decide, do I need to carry on getting more data or should I stop here? Okay, what 15? Nice. So straight into the middle. Where is that right now in the sky? That's going to be... Ooh, that's not going to be too... It's not going to be around for much longer, is it? Yeah, 10, half 11, it's getting quite low on the horizon. I say, I'm obviously assuming that you've got a nice clear view of it. I certainly wouldn't be able to image it at about 11:30 based on what I've just seen where it would be. Yeah, we'll go back. So I'll just quickly show you my bodes that I'd been working on. Where did I stick the finish one? Tell me I can't find it. Did I delete it? Oh no, here we go. What was the 2.4 one? I think it was this one. So this is my current version of Bodes before tonight's data. Hopefully you can see on YouTube hasn't wrecked it. This isn't. This looks a little bit odd. Probably went over the top. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is set a live stack going of that HA data. So bear with me, and then we'll go back to looking at a boring screen of some images coming in. Yeah, quite low, but only a few hours just to see how it performs. Yeah, it's the sort of thing. Whenever I get a new kit, I always have a what I call a test night. Don't want to go balls deep into it as soon as you get it. It's like just want to check everything's all right, and sometimes those test nights end up being good nights. But I set my expectation of I am just testing things. Little coma on the images, but it is first light. Nice. Yeah, a lot of dust around M8 to make editing difficult. Absolutely. So I'm going to live stack the HA data. And I use easy processing suite called Easy Live Stack. So what this is doing is just using that map drive on my NAS where I'm uploading the stuff from the Nook. So I can literally just live stack the stuff as it comes in. Let's see what this does. I'll let it do its stuff and go back in here. Have you finished? Or have you broken my computer? Still stacking. Come on. Okay. Have a look at the noise evaluation. Something's not right there. The improvement is minus 2.5. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see this data come in. Well, we know it's going to be in there. And then it's this data here. Doesn't look that impressive. Anybody who's just joined probably think, "What is that? Is that all he's got? What is this?" But yeah, yeah. You'd think galaxies would be easy, but I get what you're saying, Alex. Sometimes I have a habit of I used to have a habit of masking the galaxy out and basically making the back trying to basically make the background too black, and it'd end up looking a little bit false and artificial. It'd literally be like I would say a jet black background with a galaxy, but it would sort of look as though it's like looks like a sticky you've stuck onto something. So it's sometimes it's good to have a little bit of noise in the background, but smoothed out. But so that was one of the things I used to fall into, but I've stopped doing that now. But I know what you mean. Some galaxies are quite difficult. M31 seems to be quite an easy galaxy to process, but then M51 certainly has got some challenges. And I get what you're saying about M81 and M82. Hey Simon's Astro, how are you doing? Do you enjoy the day at PAS today? I thought it was really good. That's my first ever Astro event I've been to. So it was really good to catch up with people who, well, from the Facebook group, people I know from YouTube. So yeah, it was great. I think meeting the people was probably as good as going to buy things and go to. Well, I went to the Robin Glover Sharp Cap thing. I think I can't complain. It was free, but I got coiled into the word advanced when he said advanced polar alignment using sharp cap. It turned out to be just normal polar alignment using sharp cap, which is fine. But I thought it was going to go through something that I didn't know about. I'm sure we passed. Simon, you were talking to Glenn a bit, and I was sort of loitering in the background, I think. How's this guiding going? Yeah, good. 0.47. See what Pix Insight makes this. Minus 91 point. I've never seen the improvement on Easy Life Stack show that. But we'll see. I mean, histogram looks okay. 6 in the stack. Sky's getting really bright now. So you can see here, this is my OAG It'll be fine for guiding. The HA, you can see here the mean value 417, 417, 417, 417. The moon is not affecting that background at all at the moment. I doubt it will. It is quite low still though. Whereabouts are you, Mr. Moon? You there? So is that the right time? 21:38. Yes, it's not very high yet. When it gets up here, we'll see where we are. I think we'll be okay though. I have imaged an entire HA session whilst in full moon, and it literally, with these 3nm filters, just laughed at it basically. The data wasn't as good as the moonless night, but it was not throwaway data. Yeah, it is going down, but yeah, I don't know what it's doing. So this is only is it my third night? My third night running your OAG. So like most people, I've used a guide scope for the last 2.5, probably 3 years. Various guide scopes: ZWO Mini, Orion 240mm. I've currently got an Orion 240mm and a Skywatcher Evo Guide 50. And I've decided to go OAG for this setup. So I've got the QHYOAG because it sort of fits in nicely with the QHY system and camera that I've got. First, when I put it in, I thought I'd got the prism set right. Took some flats and there was a massive shadow at the bottom of the image. So like, okay, pain in the ass, because the way QHY stuff is, it doesn't screw in. It's literally as in, it doesn't screw together. You've got to take screws out. So I had to dismantle the entire train, move it, try it again, and we were fine. But yeah, I've been... would I go back to a guide scope? Not right now. So third night. I know it's only early days, but yeah, I've had better guiding with the OAG as expected. And as you can see, there's still, even though it's a bright sky tonight, there's plenty of stars in the field of view. I've only got a 550mm refractor, so yeah, I can imagine if this was like a Edge HD at 2000 or one of the bigger ones at 3000, the number of stars is going to be quite limited to what you can see. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine at that, and I suspect it'll be fine up to about 1000. You're going to thank me about the tip on the flat frame idea. The embroidery ring, yeah, it's up there with running water and electricity for me. Is that I'm going to be using it tonight. Actually, I'd normally take my flats before I start, but I didn't get a chance. But I'll probably take some tonight, and I'm going to use it for the first time in real world. Let's wait for this sub to come in, and I'll have a look in Pix Insight. We've got dither going on. You guys follow any rules of thumb for dithering? So I found a calculation on the internet that said if your focal length this, if your pixel scale's this is how many frames you should dither, as in do it once every 5, once every 6, once every second. Because I used to dither every frame, and I came across an article that said this actually can be working a negative effect for you. I need to do some more research. I think it's something I'm not that au fait with. The mechanics, I obviously understand what it does behind the scenes, but it's to whether you dither one in every X frames. And I don't want to get hung up on numbers again, but I do want to make the most of my time at Get Imaging. So I've changed it tonight to dither 1 in 3 based on this calculation I got. rather than I used to dither every frame. Excellent tip. I robbed my wife's and it works great. Yeah, I'm still gobsmacked about it. It's such a simple idea. Right, let's have a look at this PixInsight stack. Oh, we're nearly to a positive number. Also tricky to figure out the size of the dither, especially so. Yeah. I was talking to Luke about that. Well, I overheard him talking to someone about it today. About the number of pixels to dither. I think it's one of these things you can probably get drawn into trying to work things out to what's the best for your setup. So I've got a feeling my dithering, where's it saying here? Or is it saying PhD to itself? I can't remember. Can't remember whether it's that. I'm pretty sure I've got mine. I thought it was in here. Random clicking, it'll find it. You do that every other frame. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna have to pronounce your name. Surayubura Bari. Hello. Apologies if I made a hash of that. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Watching a man from Yorkshire image the night sky. Hey Spencer, excuse me, would we be able to see the galaxy by looking through the eyepiece? It's a broadband galaxy, so yes is the answer. Yeah, you would. It would probably look like, depending on the eyepiece and the magnification. There's a really good video about expectations of visual astronomy against picture astrophotography. So our closest and brightest galaxy, Andromeda M31, if you were to put an eyepiece in my particular telescope and look at it, it would look like a fuzzy blur is probably what I'll say. You'd be able to see the shape of it. You certainly wouldn't see all the spiral arms and the details in it, but you would be able to see it. And it'd be the same for these two. They'll be very small though, because these are a lot smaller than M31, and would just look like potentially fuzzy blobs. Unless anybody from the group would disagree with me, I'm not a visual astronomer, but I do know some visual astronomers, and it's even with some expensive long focal range scopes, the resolving power of eyepieces max with the thing, you're not going to get the detail level, but you'll just bring the fuzzy blob closer. I think I've explained it as well as I can. Yeah, Jim's just said blurry star. Yeah. So, thank you for those who joined us. Had a surge of people, up to 12. In fact, it's 11 because it's one of those people's me, so I can monitor the chat. I don't get carried away with myself. We are imaging M81 and M82, but we're doing it in HA. And the reason I'm doing that is I've got about 4 hours of LRGB data so far. And this is a live stack of that HA data. So actually, M81's coming out really nice. You can see these little... Let's zoom in. It won't look good zoomed in because you can see these artifacts here. That won't happen when I stack it properly, but all these little bright dots are going to be nebulas within this galaxy. And these will turn into reddish pink, if that's the colour I choose to use, which I probably will when I combine them with my LRGB. But this was actually what I'm looking for, which is the HA data that comes out of the side of the Cigar Galaxy. There's some big bursts of red hydrogen gas out of the side here, which I wouldn't be capturing with my LRGB filter. So that's why I'm doing HA, and because the moon's now starting to come out, which is no good for broadband imaging. So yeah, there doesn't look to be much data here, but for a galaxy, that's quite a lot of data for HA. You've got a Celestron. I'm gonna guess it's on. It's gonna be something like a C6 or a C8 on a single arm go-to. Don't get me wrong. There is lots of things you can look at in the night sky. But yeah, the expectations of what you're going to see. Things like Orion look quite nice, because even though Orion's a nebula, there's a lot. It's actually a good broadband thing to look at. Again, it will look like a fuzzy, blurry shape of Orion. Pleiades is a good visual thing to look at as well. Seven Sisters. And then you start looking at just planetary stuff. That's where, for someone who's never looked through a telescope before, you get a C8 which will, with a decent eyepiece, and show them Saturn, and they're like, wow, just seeing the rings of Saturn. And it's not like what you see the images of it like are, but yeah, I'm not a visual astronomer by any means, but I do appreciate the people who are, and what it takes. I think was it you, Jim, I was mentioning today? There's a guy who lives around the corner from me, and he takes images through a Celestron C8 using a film-based camera, a 35mm film-based camera. I've not spoken to him yet, but my other half knows him, and it was her who told me. He said, "Tell Nigel I use film-based cameras." Like, that's old school, but each to his own. I'm not sure how he goes about stacking those. That's a Astro joke. You're imaging NGC 5982 tonight. Lots of moonlight though. Yes. I think it technically, is it full moon tonight? I think it is. I'm going to check. Well, I might be wrong. No, it's 99%. So we're just coming out of, technically that is full moon, isn't it though? It's not 100%. Good news is tomorrow night it's going to be clear again. Well, certainly where I live in York, it's going to be clear. And the moon doesn't rise till 21:20, I think. So when it gets dark for about 8 o'clock at the moment, I think astronomical darkness kicks in 8:20. So you should get a good hour with no moon. And if I can get some more HA data, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another hour of LRGB, and then I'm going to carry on with some HA and see where we get to. That's a good point, Jim. Yeah. EAA. So what Jim's saying there is, if you get like a cheap SV Boney camera, and you can use, as long as you've got some kind of laptop or PC or something you can hook it up to, you can do something called electronically assisted imaging, which is basically, it will take images. It's basically doing what I'm doing here, where I'm live stacking the image, but it's live stacking the thing that you're looking at, but for visual use. And you don't need an expensive camera to do that. hence why a cheap SV Bony will be more than sufficient. And I believe SharpCap will do that out of the box without... I don't think you have to buy the Pro version, but even if you do have to buy the Pro version, it's £12 a year for SharpCap Pro. It might do it in the free version, but yeah, it's loads of... there'll be loads of videos on YouTube on how to do that. I think Luca Maticos did one on... he did it on a nebula, on a planetary nebula, but it's the same concept of just live stacking it, and then you basically stretch it in SharpCap till you get what you want to see, and just keep taking images, and you'll be basically taking fairly short... well, for planets you'll be taking short images. For galaxies, probably longer exposures. Depends if you're on an equatorial mount or whether you're on an alt-az mount as to how long those exposures are going to be. Got 14 people in now. Wow, thank you very much. I didn't expect to get 14 people on a Saturday night watching an old Yorkshire man talk nonsense. I could talk nonsense all day about this. I just love what we do. It consumes all my time. I say all my time. I obviously spend time with my family and my kids and stuff. 2 of them are grown up and left home, but I've got one who lives still at home, moody teenager. But yeah, if I'm not working, spending time with the family, I'm either reading something about astro, watching something about astro, watching a film about astro. I do like my music as well, and films, but yeah, there's so much to learn, and I don't think probably same with a lot of hobbies. I've been doing this seriously for 5 years. Don't claim to be an expert. Started right at the beginning. Watched people like Trevor Jones when he was realistic and down to earth. And that's not me bashing him, by the way. I suspect if I'm still doing this in 10, 15 years, we'll still be learning stuff, because one, technology is changing as well. Different things are changing. There's still a lot of stuff to learn, and that's what I like about it. I think Glenn was saying today. Well, in fact, when I met with Glenn yesterday before people turned up, he was talking about this guy who has a remote observatory, which I wish I could do an OBS type setup, but I can't. But he said all the guy does is basically switch it on, set stuff going, and then just collects data. And he's like, that's not really what the hobby's about. And yeah, we don't want things to go wrong every night, but sometimes things going wrong help you work out why things have gone wrong, and it can improve things. And yeah, it can be frustrating. There's some nights I've come in and basically, I won't say thrown the scope down, because I would never do that, but got really annoyed with something that's gone wrong and I couldn't work out why. Did a little bit of reading and gone, oh right, yeah, that was my mistake. I've done something wrong. So yeah, it's an ongoing learning exercise. And what's great about Astro communities is people swap tips. People do things. It's like a lot of things. There can be 10 different ways to achieve the same thing, and it's all about creating your own workflow. So the way I set up and the way I did go about doing things, there's probably about 80% will be the same as what a lot of people do, and 20% will be unique to me. I've waffled on. Let's catch up with some questions. 1 second images, yeah, it's probably, if he's on a fork mount or a thing, then yeah, stacking loads of 1 second in, which does mean that the device that you put it onto would probably, if you're doing a region of interest of the whatever you're looking at, you probably still need a bit of disk space, because you're going to be creating potentially what could be a 10 meg file with an SV Bony small sensor. could be creating a 10 meg file every second, so you need a lot of disk space potentially. Do you think it's worth using the dual band filter on Bodes with a one-shot color camera? Yeah, but I think you're probably gonna have to throw a lot of time at it, but you will start to pull out that HA. I don't think there's much O3 in here, but to get the HA out, yeah. I did it with a one-shot color and a dual band filter on Andromeda about 18 months ago, and it came out great. Obviously a lot brighter target, but yeah, I would say yes. Scott C, oh, you blow me away. So out of the 14 I had, 2 of them are you. Okay, one of them's me. I'll be down to less than 10. Thanks. No, I'm joking. I really am joking. I appreciate every one of you joining me. Better than listen to my wife talk nonsense. Right, okay, let's hope she's not watching either. I'm sorry for all these new questions, but what spec should I look at when picking an SV Bony camera? I'm going to hand over to Jim, but probably something like, is it SV Bony 305? I'm going to guess something like that. I'll let Jim, if he's still in, but yeah, maybe the SV Bony 305 I would guess. Lucky you to have skin line. I'm on the East Coast in the US and we're cloudy for the next week. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that somebody's nobody. We've just, for some reason, yesterday was crystal clear all night. Tonight's crystal clear, and we've got a forecast for what looks to be some really clear nights as the moon starts to rise a lot later. I hope it continues, because next week I'm at work and then the week after I'm off. So I'm hoping for some all-nighters. So yeah, we don't often get, I mean, we did last, I think January, we had a range of clear nights on the trot, but it's very rare for you to get, well, certainly where I live, I don't get many clear nights consecutively. You'll get like a clear night, and then you'll get the next night will be patchy clouds, maybe for 50 minutes, and then 50 minutes of clearness, and another set of patchy clouds. But it's going to be clear for the next 2 nights and more. So good news for me, good news for people in the UK at the moment, I think. Fortunately, my husband is Astro as well, more guaranteed than I'm processing and imaging. Your opinion on the ASI 1600 Cool, not the Pro version? So the ASI 1600 Cool was the workhorse of many people. I never owned one, but I know people who did, and technology's come on now, but it's still a great camera, and as the new cameras come out, the prices of those 1600s just goes, I'll say, down, because it's more affordable. If it's within your price range, definitely get a 1600. You use the 1600 with 1.25 inch filters, so your filter costs will be smaller, less. There's some great, I mean, look at, if you've ever seen Chuck's Astrophotography, I'm 99% sure he used a 1600 for a couple of years, and he's created some great images with the 1600. You're going to have to get rid of the amp. I think it suffers from something called amp glow, if you've ever seen that. But you'll be, if you've never heard of amp glow, and you take a picture and you'll be shocked and go, what the hell's that? But you just calibrate it all out. Yeah, thanks for confirming, Jim. It is 305 one-shot colour. I didn't think it was that. I didn't know there was a 405. I'm not a fan of SV Bony as a product range, but I do know there's the quite nice cheap planetary stuff that they do. It's the same sensor as the 533. Interesting. So what are we on? We're on exposure 19 of 30 of HA. I've not looked at my stack. Where have I put my PixInsight? Oh, there it is. Okay, this is a live stack of, what have we got in here? We've got 17 images in this HA live stack. I finally got into my improvement of above 1%. 0.52. I've never seen it do that before. It's something to do with this thing here starting down here. I'm actually thinking there's more data in here than I was expecting to see in M81. But I can see this stuff coming out in M82, and don't worry about how easy LiveStack's process this. I'll be processing it myself. But it's just giving me a good idea as to what to expect with the data that I'm currently capturing. There's another image just coming in. Let's just wait and see what it does. It's going to change it ever so slightly. So on the last stage, integrating. Oh, it's gone up to 0.9 now. Nearly at 1% improvement. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. How are we looking guiding wise? 0.61. More than happy with that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run till 10:15. There's only so much of this you can not get bored at. And I need to go do a couple of things as well whilst I'm imaging. So I'll give it another 10-11 minutes. If anybody wants to ask any questions, Jim will be answering them. I wonder if Astro Bloke, who's Glenn, who we were talking to about earlier, he was talking about buying a new focuser today, and I was trying to convince him to get the Prima Lucha Lab Sesta Senso 2, which is what I have on here. So I might message him later to see if he ended up buying it or not. It's a great focuser, but I have had a couple of issues with it. It does this odd thing every now and again. I've had it happen twice, but recently where the focuser thinks, well, Nina thinks the focuser's moving and it isn't, so it never actually finishes the autofocus routine because it's saying moving to position 5259. But in reality, the focuser isn't moving, but ASCOM thinks it is moving. And the only way to get around it is you have to go out and pull the power out of the focus and plug it back in. It's done that twice. That's the only issue I've had really with it. Oh, he bought the Pegasus Cube, did he? Okay. That's a good focuser from the stuff I've read. I do like Pegasus Astro stuff. I've got 2 power boxes by them. And I emailed them a couple of weeks ago to ask them if they were bringing something to the show that I'm interested in. That's when they said we're not coming, but Altair Astro will be showing their gear. But they were meant to be at Paz as a vendor, but the guy who owns the company mailed me and said, yeah, due to the current situation with the war and stuff and travel and COVID, they just decided not to come, and that's fair enough. Yeah, the EF and fit to your ESPRIT. It's the EF. I used to have an EF, but I sold it. It did have quite a lot of significant backlash, which I know you can dial out with Nina and APT. The thing I'm not sure about with the ZWO focuser is the Sesta Senso has 3 modes on it called light, medium and heavy, and it's basically a clutch locking mechanism, so that because you leave the manual focuser at the bottom of the ESPRIT unlocked, as in the little toggle switch that says that you can run, is the only thing that's holding that when the scope stops pointing up is the motor on the focuser. And as I say, the Prima Lucha Lab has this setting called light, medium and heavy, and if you put it on heavy, it basically applies more torque to the focuser shaft to keep it from shifting. And with my filter wheel, the QHY camera, and the various adapters and stuff, it's a heavy old thing at the end of that focuser. But the Seta Sensor 2 does hold it. I've measured it and basically left it pointing vertical for 6 hours, and with a digital caliper measured how far the focus tube had come out, and it hadn't moved a millimeter. That's the only thing I'd be unsure about, if the EF can, how much it could hold. I've not seen any specs on it. Show us your focuser settings. What do you want to see? So I don't use filters. So I've literally got star FHFR, hyperbolic. I use an inner crop of 0.8. So what that's basically doing is saying only use the stars that are. I'll draw a virtual square. It'll be about that sort of thing in this. Only use the stars in the middle of the frame, basically, but not just quite the middle. My step size, which I worked out using a video from Amy Astro, superb video, is 349. So that might sound like a lot compared to like the ZWO, where I think people's average step size is about anything between 70 and 100. And that's because the Seta Sensor 2 and my draw tube, there's over 100,000 steps, and it's a 0.7 micron per step resolution, which is quite good, quite small. So one step, literally 0.7 microns of movement. And then I have the standard. The focuser doesn't suffer from any measurable backlash, but I have Nina set to compensate for any backlash that could exist by just overshooting by 200. Simon, you got a good deal, £50 off. He has the Pegasus. Oh, okay. So if you've got the Pegasus Advanced, yeah, keeping it all in the same ecosystem, because you can basically just plug it straight in there. And I think like here, if I had one, you would see the focus stuff all nice and controllable, as well as through ASCOM as well. Almost no backlash from me. Probably got lucky. Okay, yeah. I do know that I actually sold it, and the guy I sold it to sent me it back and said it's got too much backlash. And I said, a lot of the EFs have got backlash. Were you expecting like a Moonlight Nightcrawler type spec for 120 quid or whatever I sold it to him for? But anyway. Your ZWO step size is 75 and it works out great. Yeah, there's no... So my step size for this is, I won't say it's unique to me, but you have to work out. And I say, if you look up Amy Astro's video on YouTube, how to work out your step size, you need to get some details about your focuser and about your focal length, all easily obtainable. You do a little bit of maths and it calculates it for you, and that's the number I've settled on, and my focusing's been spot on since. You can take a guess, and I used to have it at 450, and since I've moved it to 349 based on this calculation, has it been better? Yeah. Is it measurably better? Just. It wasn't like night and day difference, but it took me 10 minutes to watch Amy's video and work out what I needed to do. Glenn got the deal. My Zinja on the ESPRIT holds the 2600 OK when pointing vertically. Okay, that's good to know. I wonder if you had a filter wheel in there as well, if it was a mono, whether or not that would... I don't know. Calzoon, yeah. So I have a separate rig for my second imaging rig that I run the Nina beta on there. So I classify this as my primary, and then I have my secondary, which is sort of still being put together with bits and bobs, because I used to have an Edge HD 8 that I sold. So I do fiddle around with Nina beta on there. Yeah, I've seen the Patriot Astro videos, and I do keep an eye on the plugins. As I say, I do have a setup where I've been looking at things like Ocus Focus, which looks brilliant. The scope, well, they've just said to disable the 3D scope control, I think, because it's causing Nina to crash. Don't know if they've fixed that yet. But yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Okay, another couple of minutes, guys, and then I'm going to shut down. Let's have a look at this stack. So what we're going to get? We're going to get one more image in. So I'll have 23 images in the stack of HA. I'm going to keep it going because Mr. Moon's out now. I may as well just see how much HA data I can get. Astropix UK, I just took 150 in and the last move in was fine. Yeah. So there's no magic number. Some of it can be trial and error. I guessed at mine when I first used it. I wasn't a million miles away. Chris Woodhouse, yeah, I got both of Chris's. A couple of books that I've got which are written by Mr. Chris Woodhouse. This is well, it's quite heavy going, this one. The Astrophotography Manual, the Practical and Scientific Approach. The first parts of it goes into quite a lot of the maths behind some of the stuff that we do. I don't know if you can see that, but there's all sorts of formulas. Really good book, though. Still haven't read it all. And then I got his other book called Capturing the Universe, which is a little bit more... I won't say I didn't get anything out of it, but I would say it's more a beginner's book. It'd be a good thing for someone starting off, or maybe beginners to intermediate type book. But yeah, he's really good, Chris Woodhouse. I've got a lot of time for him. Love his books. I've seen some of his videos. Really good. Yep, thanks for stopping by, Jim. Appreciate it, and it was good to meet you yesterday and today. So yeah. Hopefully you'll join in again. Right, guys, 10:15. I'm going to call it there. Let's just have a look at one. I'll give it 20 more seconds so we get the last stack in there. But this is... We're actually up at 1.88% improvement now. Wow. Oh, we'll have to look into why that did that. So... We are... Oh, we're about to do a meridian flip. That's a good timing to stop it. But let's watch it do the flip, actually. Change your mind. Always used to scare me, this. Doing a meridian flip. And it still does to some extent. Because I still remember when SGP caused my... telescope to start hitting its telescope legs, the tripod legs. Cheers, everybody. I'm just going to watch it flip and then I'm going to bring the stream to a close. So if anybody who's new to Astro Imaging, what's happening now is that the scope's going to basically move to the other side of the sky, because if it carried on, it would just basically carry on going. Is it going? Oh yes, it is. It would carry on going downwards and eventually hit the tripod legs. So what it's doing now is it's flipping it over to the other side and will then start going the opposite way. So I'm just watching it on my phone. I used to go outside to watch it, but I'm okay with... I think I'm okay with what it's doing. That looked very close. I know the guy cam looked very close to the thing then, but we were okay. I have checked this. He says that I'm probably going out to a bent OAG. There we go. Right, guys, thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. Taking the time out to come and watch me mess around with my kit is much appreciated. So until next time, thank you all.